Welcome to It Takes Two. I'm Blair.
I'm Chris.
And today we'll be talking about Love Island USA Season 7, Episode 27.
We need you to subscribe, like, share, comment, all the above. Last time we passed 8,000 subscribers. Thanks to y'all help. Now we are at 8,250 plus. We are very close to 9,000. I think we can do it with this video.
All right.
And y'all know the deal. 9,000 subscribers. Hair reveal. You ready to walk us through this episode?
I'm ready.
Let's go, Blair.
So everyone is just coming down off of the challenge.
Yep.
Ace is drained with the Shelly situation, with her being torn between him and Chris, when Ace made double the amount of efforts, and she really only had one conversation with Chris when he ended up coming back from Casa.
That's true.
Taylor didn't appreciate Olandria trying to cuss him out. It's his journey too, and the only people that can cuss him out are his mom and his wife, and she's neither one of those.
Okay.
With the girls, Olandria says Taylor's decisions have been F her. It hurt her. And Clark here's where Olandria is coming from. And Olandria tells Clark to pretty much listen up, pay attention, see what's going on with this man, because he doesn't have a backbone and he's quick to switch up.
Okay.
They are all saying that Amaya stood on business. Amaya's feelings are hurt, and she doesn't see why Zach would, they were saying, why would Zach pick Amaya if he didn't want to kiss her?
Yeah.
Amaya says for men, it's scary that they consider her vulnerability in emotional ways scary. She's not going to apologize for being emotional.
Now let's start right here and let's go back to the top. What is your thoughts so far just on this scene before we go deeper?
Yeah, Shelly's draining me too, Ace.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
I'm right there with you. Olandria was fair to be upset. I think that Taylor was stringing her along in ways and saying he was going to get to know them both, but clearly only wanted to get to know Clark. You chose Clark. Move in that regard.
Yeah.
I'm glad that he finally stood up and say where he really stood, but I don't know why it had to take him this long.
Yeah.
With Olandria, focus on your race.
Okay. Run your race, girl.
Run your race, girl. Okay. The man didn't want you. It doesn't mean he don't want Clark. And Clark doesn't need to go by your experience to figure out what she needs to do with Taylor.
Facts.
It's not the same.
Yeah, it's not
the same. And then with Amaya, I'm going to get into Amaya when she has a conversation with Zach, because I am of the belief that we need to regulate our emotions. We need to be able to listen when people talk to us and not over talk or start crying. So that way we can get information. So that way we can navigate better for ourselves, number one.
Yeah.
So that's why I want Amaya to be able to listen before reacting a lot of the times. But there is a point to the fact that why are people choosing her only to not want to be with her knowing how she is.
Yes, that is fair. Going back up with the whole Ace and Shelly thing, Shelly makes no sense, and it hurts me to say that, because Shelly is my sister from another mister, and Shelly is, here's the thing about Shelly, right? Shelly is used to being chased, right? So she's playing a game outside of the game that everybody else is playing on Love Island, right? And the reason why Ace is drained, because Ace feels like, hey, I've been doing gameplay basically throughout this whole season, and we are near the end of the season, and you are literally messing up our game, as we're going to see later on in the episode where America views them. You get what I'm saying? So there is something to Ace feeling drained, because when he talks to Shelly, Shelly begins to gaslight him, right? But here's the thing about it. I think, truth be told, there is an easy solution to this problem that Ace and Shelly have. And the solution is Ace needs to go to Shelly and say, bump everything we said before. Forget the whole exploring thing. I have a question right now. I like you a lot. I want to be closed off with you. Do you want to be closed off with me? And
today,
start
right
the
now.
conversation right there.
Agreed.
Right? Besides the whole, he's mad that I'm doing it. If he was in my shoes, he'd be doing the same thing. Shelly, we ain't got time. We got less than 2 weeks of the show left.
Exactly. What do y'all really want?
Exactly. So Ace needs to not really put the ball in her hands, because you see what she's doing. She's over here doing, ball handling moves and things of that nature, and she ain't trying to score, right? But when it comes down to Ace, Ace needs to man up and say, hey, these are my feelings about you. I like you and I want to be closed off with you. And then leave it in her hands right there. And what she says right there, then that will determine how you move. When it comes down to the Olandria thing, hey, listen here. I'll say this. Olandria is also my other sister from another mister. And it hurts me to say this, but if I was Clark, I would say I don't take advice from losers. I don't. Like, so you have nothing to tell me about Taylor, because he told me that he basically feel way different and he feels way freer with me than he ever felt with you. Do I believe him? No. Like me going at Olandria is not me defending Taylor.
Yeah.
I think Taylor never had a backbone. I think Taylor was never serious with Olandria. I think Taylor was breadcrumbing Olandria and things of that nature. But Olandria, this is where you mess up that. You like this boy.
Yeah, you know all this, and you still want him.
Like you liked him. So when did he not have a backbone? Right before you called him the B word. So the fact that you called him the B word, which I'm not a fan of, because your little crash out, Taylor don't even deserve that because he's not even worth it, right? But your little crash out where, I've been reassuring this guy every single day and things of that nature. Oh, so you was aware of your stupidity. So I can't feel bad for you. It's one thing if you was ignorant to it, but you wasn't, right? And when it comes down to Amaya is no different than Huda. Speaking of Huda, while they having this conversation, Huda, there she goes. She's throwing her weight around the villa again. She's on the side. Basically, the girls is in the middle, and she want to sit to the side and basically pout the whole time. And I'm like, Huda, this is the perfect example of why I say, even though you made some fair points, Huda, I have no problem with the bully being bullied, right? She needs to learn how to, hey, the challenge is over. When you sitting to the side, no one's going to pay attention to you. No one's going to coddle you. No one's going to come to you and say, Huda, what's wrong and things like that. Amaya eventually did it. But at the end of the day, guess what? Huda, your mood is not going to affect this whole villa no more.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? But let's keep going.
So Nick says that when Amaya gets in that state, there's really no talking to her.
Yeah.
And Zach has tried to say how he felt to her, but how is he supposed to keep on talking to her when she starts crying?
Yeah.
Pepe is feeling bad for Grayson. He is trying to move on from Hannah.
Okay.
And the girls feel like Grayson Grayson said that she's tired of people talking about Hannah. Iris thinks that he moved on and he is interested in Grayson. I say, Iris, allow the man to speak for himself.
Yeah, please.
Okay.
You heard him.
Amaya lets Huda know, as we know she's sitting in the corner, that it wasn't a personal attack against her. But Huda doesn't want to hear it. She doesn't trust anybody. She doesn't want to talk to anybody. And honestly, you're right not to trust anybody and not to want to talk to anybody, because these girls aren't your friends.
No.
I think that you made a terrible first impression, and they have been trying to coddle you, stay out your way, and smooth things over with you for the sake of the peace of the villa.
Yeah.
But I think they got tired.
Yeah.
I think they got tired. I think that they by the fact that you had a certain set of rules when you came in, and you don't stick by those rules all the way throughout the end. And I will say, Huda should be able to change her mind, open up to the experience, and go about things the way that she wants to. But when you set the precedent for yourself in one particular way, when you switch up, people are likely to have a problem.
Yeah.
So I think that, with Huda, I'm glad that she is coming to her senses and trying to go about things in a different way. But impressions matter. First impressions do matter.
And the thing about Huda, great point, Blair. My only thing is I can't trust if Huda really feel what she feels, because right now she's like, I'm tired of being viewed as the bad guy. I'm tired of being viewed as the bad guy. What was on my list when I say for Huda's redemption arc? She needs to learn how to take accountability, right? Even if you're not wrong at all in the situation, because we don't even know if you are able to do that, right? That's why a lot of people feels like, hey, it's not that people did not feel like Huda deserved or didn't deserve a redemption arc. They just didn't believe that it was in her.
Right.
That she was capable.
I didn't think so.
So here's the thing. We as audience have no problem watching somebody, be at the top, fall to the bottom, and climb their way back if they do the rightful steps. We have yet see Huda say, you know what? Besides her sitting in the corner pouting, trying to get the attention and things like that, trying to passive aggressively throw her weight around, she should have just been like, you know what? I'm sorry. Guys, I'm sorry. You know what? Forget this whole I'm tired of being a bad guy crap, because at the end of the day, like, I'm sorry. To me, they should have got her out, but they didn't. So it is what it is.
So none of the guys think Huda did anything wrong with kissing Chris to explore him. And Brian said a couple of good things did come out of it. Some doors were shut. Taylor shut the door on Olandria, and Zach shut the door on Amaya.
And listen, hey, you're not going to make me sound crazy or feel crazy that Huda kissed the person that she's coupled up with. Like she's coupled up with Chris.
Yeah.
She can kiss Chris. She can kiss Chris. So
and explore however she wants to.
Yes, she can. Yeah.
Olandria is talking to Shelly one-on-one and tells her the chapter with Taylor is closed.
Okay.
He wants to stand on business in front of his boys. Shelly is now looking at Ace sideways because they said they were open.
Yeah.
He did all these grand things, but he kept saying he wanted to be open, so she doesn't see what she's doing wrong. Shelly also didn't like that he aired their dirty laundry out.
Shelly, I think you tiring out my wife.
Yeah, I ain't got much. I really don't have anything left for Shelly.
You're tiring out my wife. And with Olandria, the same way as you felt like he was put on a show for his boys, you put on a show for your girls when, like, you called him the B word.
Mm-hmm.
Like, come on now, stop it. Like, we have to, Olandria, we don't feel sorry for you. Because you saw it. And the only reason why we don't feel sorry for you, because you was the one who had opportunities on top of opportunities on top of opportunities. Olandria is the only Islander that I've seen in any franchise to where she literally got 9 lives.
Yeah.
Right? And she has really wasted away all of them. Mm-hmm. And now you want to give a crash out to Taylor, but yet you knew all this stuff. You knew he didn't have a backbone. You knew he was all these things. So now it makes your crash out even like more, what's the word? Scripted. It makes it like weak and things like that. It's not a real crash out. You're mad at yourself. You need to take accountability for yourself, talking about if it wasn't for me, Taylor would be gone. No. It has nothing to do with saving your friends and things like that. You're supposed to be, as Taylor said, he ate with this line. I will say this. He said, you think I'm here for you, but I'm here for me.
I'll move for you.
I don't move for you.
And Olandria shouldn't be moving for Taylor.
Exactly. So that whole statement talking about if it was you, like, I save you, well, you shouldn't have been moving for him. Mm-hmm. You should have been moving for you. But you know, it is what it is.
So it's bedtime and no one's happy.
Nobody.
Amaya's crying, Grayson's crying, Huda's slamming doors, and Andrina's talking about her slamming doors and saying she's doing too much.
Andrina, you doing too much.
I'm just like, Andrina, I don't know why you even saying a whole bunch of anything.
Go to bed. Okay.
Amaya did make a comment that whoever made the comment towards Pepe and Grayson was weak. And we learned that Huda made the comment that Pepe likes Hannah more than Grayson.
Okay.
So next day, Huda's tired of being made to look bad.
Okay.
Ace still gives Shelly breakfast, but he's not really feeling it.
No.
And Huda is eating alone in the speakeasy.
And that's my only problem with Ace in this moment. I think Ace shouldn't have gave Shelly breakfast. I know, like, whoa, that's toxic, Chris. Yes, right? Here's the thing about it. Shelly, as long as you chase her, she feels like she don't have to do anything. So guess what? Let this be the one time out of all the other times that, guess what? She don't get her pancakes. Yeah. Why don't you get your pancakes? Why don't you get Chris to make you pancakes? Mm-hmm. I mean, you're open.
We're open, right?
You know what I'm saying? That's what I mean. Like Ace over here, it do you no good to come in there pouting and stuff like that. I'm never gonna pout because I'm in my emotions. I'm just gonna make a move and say, you know, I'm not making her pancakes.
But the reason I respect Ace for doing it is because he does want to continue to pursue her. So he's not going to let an off day like basically push him off his square. Yeah. So I respect the consistency, but I do think that Shelly needs to come a little bit better when it comes to their connection.
That's fair.
So Olandria and Huda talk. Olandria tells Huda she loves her, that she knows that they do confide in each other, and she feels close to Shelly and Huda. And she just felt like, you know, why are you going about exploring Chris in the way that you are if you're talking about your girl's girl? And Huda says that she believes she can explore Chris. She didn't do anything wrong, but she was hurt by everyone yelling at her and no one having her back. Yeah. Olandria admits that she could have gone about things a different way. She values their friendship. She doesn't want Huda to feel bad. Huda wishes that, you know, if you had an issue with me, to just talk to me. And Olandria apologizes. Honestly, if I was Huda, good talk, but we're not cool.
Yeah. I really don't understand this conversation
because the thing is, like, Olandria has loose lips.
Yes.
She what did she do? She you know, said the information about Bella and Nick.
Listen here.
She also
I will list them. Go ahead.
Yeah, and she also said the information about Huda having a kid and let it slip in front of Austin. So I think Huda, there's not much to say at this point with Olandria. You just kind of need to peep that she's really not on your side. She's more she has more loyalty to Shelly than you.
I wonder if Olandria is fake. I asked y'all, is she a scammer or is she like stupid? And y'all you said, Chris, you can't be on here calling her stupid, so I'd rather her be a scammer. And I said, well, okay, well, I'd rather her be a scammer too. But now I'm starting to say, like, is she fake? Because I hate when people tell me how real they are. And she keeps telling everybody like she's the realest. You get what I'm saying? But yet, to Blair's point, as she started, she over here mistakenly told the Bella news to Sierra with Nick. Okay, whole time she talk about girl's girl, right? But mind you, she let out that secret. But okay, cool, that's one thing. She let out Huda is a mom and things of that nature, and they're basically like, hey, don't tell nobody, don't tell nobody. Whole time she kissed her best friends or basically one of her girlfriends, man. You get what I'm saying, Nick, and in the effort of exploring,
bit the lip and everything.
So how is that any different than like Huda over there basically exploring Chris? Yeah. You flat out had a made out session with Nick and things of that nature, and then you let out the whole, hey, do you want to tell the class about the kiss you had with Chris? Like, Olandra, I understand that, hey, Huda did try to make you out the villain in the first couple episodes and things like that, but my thing is, I don't understand your gameplay in this instance of keeping Huda's close. I think it serves everybody, and everybody will understand if everyone kept Huda at an arm's distance. Yeah. So I don't understand this whole, like, you know what, I'm sorry, you know what, I love you, I'm close with you, and I will never like tell anything that you confide in me, and you can always confide in me. It just comes off as fake and almost like a salesman. I'm like, if you closer with Shelly, then be closer with Shelly.
That's where your loyalty lies. Be honest about it.
You don't have to speak to me and like that. And there we go with Huda again, not taking accountability. She over here talking about how much it hurt. And I'm just like, all right, Huda, like, cool.
But I feel like in this conversation, I think she was fine to say she can explore Chris. I mean, and she was hurt that everybody came at her. Like, what was she supposed to take accountability for in this conversation?
Stop. No one cares about how you feel, Huda. Because at the end of the day, when you was throwing your weight around, when Jeremiah and stuff were here, when you was cussing them out and basically yelling across the villa, we had to be uncomfortable with you. When you had that one-on-one conversation with Iris, we had to go upstairs to make sure that basically you don't do nothing to that girl. So you don't have to go on and on and on and say, that hurt me, bro. That hurt me, bro. Like it just feels alone. Like, I'm alone. That hurt me, bro. There are some seeds that she planted that is harvesting at this moment that, guess what? You did not think about all the other times that you was calling people out their names. You wasn't thinking about all the times you were throwing your weight around that may hurt somebody else.
And she probably just has to acknowledge that she might have to stand on her own a little bit.
And my thing, exactly. And my thing is, I'm not saying she's not right to feel that way. I'm just saying that those feelings should not be on the forefront.
But I will say, if these girls are talking about that they support her, they're there for her and all this type of stuff through all of her ups and downs, it is kind of crazy for y'all to be switching up on her when she's exploring a connection with Chris and making it seem like now you have an issue with how she acted before. Like, y'all should have been kept that same energy.
I'm a liar. like it just, you're like,
yeah. So we move on to Zach and Amaya. Amaya feels like he had every opportunity to say how he felt, and he wanted to jump in when everyone else was talking about her. Zach admits that he should have comforted her, and when they kissed before in Casa, he actually didn't really want to kiss her, but he feels like he should have said that to her in the moment. Amaya thinks he's insane and mean. You're not an honest man. You're odd. And she tells him to F off. So there's really not much more conversation beyond that. And I will say, there didn't need to be. Because why are you out here doing stuff you don't want to do, Zach?
Yeah, I have.
Because you want a spot in the villa?
I have no sympathy for that.
Exactly. Amaya's over here thinking she's making connections, but you're over here scheming. So, yeah, F off. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Here's the thing. Another thing that happened here was that while Zach and Amaya are having a conversation, mind you, this was actually a conversation where Zach actually had a chance to speak. Yeah. And he's actually trying to get his words together and speaking. And Jaden is across the villa, and she's like, "Ooh, I'm looking at him, and I can just tell what he's saying, and I just want to push him in the pool." Stop agent hate. You don't know what that man was saying. You had no reason to even say that about him and things of that nature, right? So I'm happy what happened to Jaden tonight. Like, you need to go, right? When it comes to Amaya, we need to stop treating Amaya like a Make-A-Wish kid because she's an adult, right? And we respect her more than the patronizing, patting on the head and things like that. I thought it was bad with Bella. It is worse with Amaya because there is no difference between Amaya and Huda. Like, one crash out is worse than the other. When Amaya feel emotionally charged up, she get the whole F off. I don't want to talk to you. Get the F up out my face and things like that. That is not the same. Listen, that is no different than how when Huda is basically yelling. Now, granted, she said some deep words and things like that, but they both are controlled by their emotions,
very
right?
Reactive.
And when it comes to regulating your emotions, I'm not telling women to regulate their emotions. It just so happens that there's a woman in this situation, and Amaya is that. I'm telling adults to regulate their emotions, right? To Blair, as what Blair was saying earlier in the episode, was that you need to regulate your emotions for, number one, for your benefit first. It has nothing to do with anybody else.
No.
Everybody else talking about she's not hurting nobody. Well, she's hurting herself because while she's trying to build connections emotions, the guys are saying, I don't want this intense girl.
Yeah.
So it is hurting somebody. It's hurting Amaya.
Yeah.
Like, here's my whole point. And that's why I'm like, I understand there's girls. I understand there's girls code and things like that. But if Amaya's desire is to be with a guy, she needs to listen to a guy how to maneuver amongst guys, right? Mm-hmm. I understand Zach's point. Only one point that he said. I don't know if he said in this conversation, but he said in this episode, I don't want to talk to somebody if they're crying. Like, I don't want to make them feel bad, right? Why am I talking to somebody and every time I talk to them, they crying?
Yeah.
Why every time I'm talking to somebody, they are ruling the conversation, I got nothing to say?
And then the point is that it's not even like he is attacking her. He's trying to express his emotions and how he really feels.
Yes.
And it's cut short because her emotions take over the conversation.
Yes.
So.
And now I have to ask, I understand that Amaya is the America's sweetheart. And truth be told, I have no problem with Amaya being an America's sweetheart because this whole cast is trashy, right? But my whole thing is I have to ask, hey, Amaya, I understand that you feel like your tears are strength and like you feel like it's a power behind your vulnerability. But now I have to ask, is your tears manipulative? Because there is an optic. If I'm talking to Blair in public and Blair is crying, people are going to look like, what is he doing to her? So that's why I'm like, there is an optic to where every time I'm having a conversation with Amaya, she's rather crying in that conversation or she leaves the conversation crying.
Yeah.
And there's a whole bunch of guys out here that have no problem playing, Superman. Oh, what did he do? You get what I'm saying? That's why I freaking look at, perfect example. While they was having a conversation, you know what everybody else did? Everybody turned their heads to look. Because she just changes the whole mood of the villain and things like that. That's why there's no difference between her and Huda.
And that's my thing. Like, I like Amaya.
Yeah.
I think that Amaya is, like they said, genuine, wears her heart on her sleeve, all that type of thing. She has a lot of positive qualities. But when it comes to a conversation and actually, like, getting to know another person and where they're coming from, you gotta listen.
Yeah,
like the conversation goes both ways.
Yeah, it's one way street with her. You're right.
So we move on to Pepe and Grayson, and she asks if he's using her to process his emotions for what happened. And Pepe tells her you came towards the end, and she tells him, but it's not the end. You build a connection with Hannah in 9 days. Do you think we could get stronger? And Pepe says that he doesn't feel a spark with her, and it's not because of Hannah. Don't believe that.
Yeah.
Grayson says that he's not taking her feelings into consideration. She starts crying. They end up hugging.
In the great words of Taylor, the only great words he said in this whole season, like, my experience is my experience. Mm-hmm. Like, what do you mean I'm not taking your feelings into consideration? What, you want me to fake? Like, I'm having an honest conversation with you. And my thing is, we cannot fall into the trap of when a woman express herself and say the truth about how she feel, the guy got to sit there and basically take it, but when the guy does it, now all of a sudden you're not considering me. Oh my goodness, you're hurting me. And it's like, no, listen, me honestly, I feel like Pepe, maybe it's time for you to go. Right, I understand that he's voted as one of the favorites and things like that. But Pepe, if you're stuck on Hannah, when Hannah at one point was stuck on Charlie until literally that night, and then, like, what make you think that you go get Hannah once you leave? So that's why I'm like, maybe this is not the experiment for you. Even though I do give Pepe respect for being honest, I'm like, this is Love Island. Mm-hmm. And for you to be hooked on somebody as a bombshell at that, when they left, that's not the Love Island way. And maybe you need to go.
Yeah, and I feel like with Pepe, I agree that he probably needs to go home because his head's not in the game. He doesn't want to get to know anybody. Mm-hmm. He's really closed off at this point to Hannah, and she's not even
here. He closed off to himself, exactly, yep.
And then Grayson ends up telling Clark that he left her high and dry. She felt like there was a spark. That's why she, was trying to get to know him. And I will say for Grayson, during the challenge, you were saying, I need him to tell me what it is so that way I can get to know other people.
Yeah.
Well, y'all were never closed off. You should have always been getting to know other people. Yeah. And that's my only critique for Grayson is that, yes, you were with Pepe, but you and Pepe weren't exclusive. Yeah. And right. I understand, basically how she feels hurt. Mm-hmm. And I do feel like maybe her time in the villa was a bit unfair, but I also feel like as a Casa girl, you don't get the same opportunities and liberties as the OG cast. Yeah. People have already built situations, relationships, friendships to where you could pretty much be taken or leaving. So I think that Grayson, and then I feel like as well as Clark in some ways, kind of need to understand your role when you come in in the middle of the season, you're not going to have the most fair opportunities.
That's a 100% great point. Yep.
So Pepe thinks that she took it well.
Okay, nice.
But he doesn't want to drag things along. TJ and Iris were pretty much chilling last night. They're in the kitchen cooking now, and people just telling them, y'all got it easy. Mm-hmm. Brian and Amaya have a chat, and she thanks him for standing up for her, and he knows that the way that she operates is because of their Latin culture.
Yeah.
They're both pretty forgiving people because, you know, life's short, world might end, and he doesn't want her to feel alone. He thought that she looked, you know, pretty good up there defending herself, and she says she's a circle, she's a weirdo, you can't put her in a square or a star.
Well, Brian, I understand that. I hope you're not pandering to her, because she was basically in this conversation where this is a perfect example of Amaya. She said it's crazy how 1 minute you can feel down here and then you have a conversation and then you're all the way up here. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just like, that's the problem. You're all the way up here. Come down here. The same way as Brian say, meet her in the middle. Well, Amaya never's in the middle. Amaya's up here. She's out the camera frame, right? So here's the thing about Brian. I say, Brian, I love the fact that you encourage Amaya. I love the fact that you have a Latin heritage and things like that. And I hope that you actually couple up with her. Put actions behind your words. For real. Because guess what? You was a Casa boy, and you did not pick her. You pick Andrina. Yeah. And then you find out that she was boring. And so my whole thing is, if Amaya's all these things and you understand the whole heritage and she's all these things and she says I'm odd, but I'm like a good odd, or like I'm weird and I'm a good weird and things like that, then Brian, why don't you take your stab at her? And guess what? When she is intense with you, do not join Ace, Austin, and Zach and all of them and like that male group talking about I don't know, man. Like Amaya crazy. No. Amaya's a star, right? Then guess what? Couple up with her.
She's a circle.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So we move on to the Shelly and Huda conversation.
Yeah.
Shelly felt like she had respect towards Huda during her situation. Yeah. But the whole thing with Ace put a bad taste in her mouth, and it also made her start thinking about how Huda was moving when she said she was bringing Chris to the villa for her. Yeah. And if you want him to come back for you, just say that. As we know, and we've seen clips and we've seen the replay, that Huda did tell Shelly she did have an interest in Chris, and she also wanted to get to know him. And Huda pretty much reiterates, I did it for both reasons. Yes. And Shelly felt like the switch up was too quick for her, so she really didn't have time to process it in one setting. Okay. And Huda apologizes, but she tells her, hey, next time, if we have an issue, can we just talk about it? Shelly said her issue was that when she told Huda she wanted to talk about it later, Huda started saying it was just a challenge. But she will speak to Huda in the future if there's an issue. I don't believe Shelly. Yeah. And I really don't like the way that Shelly went about it, because there were opportunities for her to actually hash things out with Huda, but she went around and talked about it with everybody else. Yeah. And then I also feel like, okay, but what does you processing it have anything to do with the fact that I told you this? That's a completely different issue with you and your brain. I told you I was interested in him and I wanted to get to know him, and I also wanted him to explore any other connections that he had while he was in the villa, including you. Yeah. So that's why I'm like, Shelly's too much in her head, like, and in her emotions and in how she feels, and I feel like she's not rooted in reality right now. Yeah, I mean, she's rooted in Love Island. I really don't know where Shelly has that. I can see Shelly's point, but her point is only as sharp if there was a real connection or there was a real chance that she would go with Chris. You haven't even talked to the man.
We know. Barely. We know for a fact, based off of actions that we've seen early on in the season, that whenever you're in a love triangle and things like that, you're going to go with Ace. You literally said out your mouth, this is not a Chris quote, this is not a Blair quote, this is a Shelly quote. She said that she did not want to ruin the good thing that she had with Ace. So your point with the whole Huda thing, it could be a great point if there was actually a real chance that you was going to be with Chris. But I remember that when Ace was on that heart, you stood up with Coco to be with Ace, right? So now Huda, who is single, and you know, guess what? When you're single, you're vulnerable. She have the right to be like, hey, I'm bringing Chris back. Now, should Huda said I'm bringing him back for you, girl? No, she shouldn't have said that, because that sounds stupid, right? But my thing is, she should have just been honest and just say, hey, you like Ace, right? Okay, I need somebody. I'm gonna choose Chris. That's why I'm like, I understand her whole point with the whole I respected you with the whole Jeremiah thing, and now I'm starting to think, did you wanted to explore Jeremiah? Like, if you never wanted to explore Jeremiah, then like,
what does that really matter?
It doesn't matter to you. It doesn't. It's a like the point doesn't matter to you because if you never wanted to explore Jeremiah, there's nothing to respect. So that's why I'm like, Shelly, you're just in your head. You're not in reality, but you know what? You're still my sister from another mister. But right now, you're making me feel bad.
So Clark is sorry that Taylor had to go through what he went through the previous night.
Yeah.
He doesn't really want to address the situation with Olandria because he doesn't want to end up arguing with her.
Yeah.
And they are still going to focus on each other and just try to get to know each other more.
Okay, sure.
Now, they end up getting a text. And it's a hate to burst your bubble game tonight.
Okay.
The boys and girls are going to be rated from most to least in different categories. The boys are up first, and then the girls can readjust to submit their answer and see if they got the answer correct compared to what America did. So they vote for who is the most genuine and the least genuine guy. And the Islanders thought Elan was the most genuine and Zach was the least. And America actually chose Pepe as the most. And Chris and Zach were the least.
Okay.
Oh, no, sorry. Top three. I did top three for America.
Okay.
So the most was Pepe, Chris, and Zach. And then the least were Austin, Ace, and Taylor.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah. Next, they got boyfriend material. So Islanders thought the best or the most was Ace. The least was Austin. But America felt the most was Pepe, Chris, and Nick. And least was Ace, Austin, and Taylor. Taylor is dead last, and Ace is continuing to be in the bottom three.
Yeah. The only thing saving Ace from being last is Taylor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Clark thinks that Taylor's boyfriend material, but she could be missing something.
Yeah, you don't know.
The boys choose the girls that they would trust with their deepest secret. They thought the most that they would be able to trust was Jaden and then Olandria, and the least was Huda. And the guys thought that Olandria just spilled some secrets during the game, and that wasn't really that great. So, sorry, most was Jaden, bottom two, Olandria, and Huda.
Okay.
America thought the most trustworthy with secrets was Amaya, Iris, and Olandria. The least was Shelly, Andrina, and Clark.
Shelly at the bottom? Okay.
So most genuine they felt was Olandria. Least genuine they felt was Andrina. America thought the top three most genuine girls were Amaya, Iris, and Olandria. And the least were Andrina, Shelly, and Clark.
Oh, boy.
Then they get to rank the couples that you'd want to go on a vacation with. And they thought Amaya and Zach for most. Least they thought Clark and Taylor. And America's top three were Amaya and Zach, Sierra and Nick, Grayson and Pepe. And for the least, they put Andrina and Brian, Shelly and Ace, Taylor and Clark.
Oh, boy. I want to talk about how Shelly and Ace is on the bottom of literally America's poll.
And they were shocked.
They were shocked.
Expect to be at the bottom.
And that's the thing about it. Ace and Eva Landry said, we get to see what America thinks. And this is the only gauge that Ace have to see how good his game is playing. And I think he feels like, this is my prediction, I think he feels like Shelly ruined the game. And I feel that way too. Yeah. Because if you listen to what Ace said, he kind of let out the cat out the bag a little bit. When Nick came back and said, we're closed off, he said, man, I wish that I would have been one of the ones, closed off first and things like that. Because I think there's value to that. You get to be the it couple, but now Sierra and Nick is viewed as the it couple.
And you're kind of out the drama, out the way.
Yes, exactly. So, but now Shelly is kind of bringing down the whole, well, I feel like Ace is bringing it down too, because guess what? People are not going to forgive you for that Jeremiah thing. Yeah. But like y'all together, and now y'all can't even agree to be closed off. It's like, yeah, we never believed it in anyway, Let's keep going.
So then they have to choose the favorite boy and favorite girl. The girls and boys who receive the least votes are in danger of going home. Yeah. So we get the least votes for Jaden, Grayson, Andrina, TJ, Taylor, and Austin.
Were any of those names surprising?
Honestly, no. I was just like, Austin is about time. I mean,
yeah, the only one that was surprising to me was Andrina.
Yeah.
I thought that Clark would have been up there.
Oh.
I thought Clark would have been up there. I saw Taylor up there, but I'm like, if Taylor's up there, how come Clark is not up there?
Yeah, I feel like some people do actually like Clark. And I feel like with Andrina, I don't think she's made waves either way for people to really vote her as a favorite.
Yeah, that's fair.
So the Islanders can only save one person, and they stand behind who they want to save. And these are the people that stood out to me when it came to standing behind who they wanted to save.
Yeah.
So Pepe said sorry to TJ
Yeah, he
and
did.
stood behind Taylor.
Wow.
I was shocked by that because I feel like TJ and Iris actually have something going here that could potentially grow into something. And I will say, this is Friend Island, so I definitely believe that they were going to save Taylor. But I was hoping that they would save a promising connection. But they haven't done it this whole season, so why would I think that?
And this and even though we don't like gameplay, it made sense for them to get rid of a strong couple. And even though I'm like, hey, I really don't understand I don't understand the people that stood behind one vote. Like as we go get to it, Orlando standing behind Austin. I
really didn't get that.
I'm like, thank you, bestie. I'm like, what am I missing, right? And truth be told, as Orlando tried to make it seem like she's the smartest one in the villa, her vote is the reason why Andrina got voted off. Because you wasted a vote. You threw away a vote. I understand not voting for Taylor, but yeah, to your point, I really thought that the right couple that everybody should have stood behind was behind TJ and Iris. Because Taylor and Clark is too new. Austin and Jaden, both of them is up there.
And that's my thing. Like, TJ and Iris have been tested in Casa.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like they deserve to continue their journey.
Yeah, but sometimes when you are the background, we be like, oh, yeah, you get to play the background. You don't get to really enjoy the rest of Love Island.
And then Huda stood behind Andrina, which, with Andrina doing all the kind of talking about Huda behind her back, of course, Huda probably didn't know.
Yeah.
But I think this is kind of like Huda's point to the fact that she's a girl's girl, and Andrina was one of the people that were in the house before Casa.
Yeah.
So I think she was doing it out of loyalty. I actually thought she was going to stand behind Taylor to do him a favor for standing behind her when it was her turn to get voted out, but it wasn't.
It actually would have made sense if she really was sorry for what she said about Iris to stand behind Iris. You get what I'm saying? But you know what? It is what it is. Because I think it is something with... That's why I'm like, I think they use that girl's girl card whenever they want to. Because I can see Huda standing behind Andrina being a girl's girl, but Olandria didn't stand behind Andrina. So I'm like, so you're not a girl's girl with that. And then Sierra didn't stand behind Andrina. So I'm like, when do girl code activate? Like I really don't understand it, but you know.
And Sierra was the last to vote, and she ended up standing behind Taylor.
Yeah.
So Taylor was saved, which I expected.
Yeah. Yeah.
Didn't agree with.
Here's the thing. I don't agree with it, but I agree with dumping that much people off the island.
Yeah, it's too many of y'all.
Yeah. And I think they need to dump 4 more next episode too. But I really think that, hey, since America is voting, hey, let America vote, be the vote. Show us the percentages. And whoever got the lowest percentage, go. Like, I don't understand this whole letting the Islanders vote. And you wonder why y'all season is in the type of, mud that, is in. And y'all trying to break up these friendships because y'all let, basically, these people run the game and things like that. So I'm like, I hope one of these days that when we actually cast a vote of our favorite and our least and things of that nature, we actually get to, hey, okay, well, since we got this, we going to go by percentages and things like that. And whoever got the lowest percentage get to go home.
Yep.
Anything else that stood out to you?
That's all I got.
Listen here, we need you to subscribe, like, share, comment, all the above. We see y'all tomorrow night.
Bye.